Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one lined up for you here. President policy is going to blow up U.S. companies in the best way possible. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.45 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 3.2%. Bitcoin, 97,500 plus. Ethereum, 3,300 plus. $132 billion plus market cap for USD Tether. XRP number 6 spot. It fell down to $1.38 as it's taken a breath. The whole market is kind of relaxing a little bit after the big surge we've seen, pulling back 11% on the 24-hour. We're still up 28.2 on the 7-day. USDC 38 billion plus, and they're at the number 8 spot. We'll keep an eye on that and the stable coin journey we're getting ready to go on. 130 to 158. We're sitting at 138. We'll keep an eye on it. I Trust Capital. I want you to think about right now where you as a retail investor can get institutional custody. It's I Trust Capital. Yes, and if you buy a Roth IRA, you could be experiencing all of these bull cycle gains that are tax-free in a Roth IRA. That's exactly what I've done with my Bitcoin position that I decided to buy this last time around. Once I saw BlackRock and Fidelity take a position on the ETFs, I said, well, if they're in the game, I'm going to get in the game, regardless of what I know about it. And if they pass a Bitcoin strategic reserve bill, I'm going to be convinced at that point that Bitcoin was created as a government psyop to be a financial band-aid as we make a transition to the new digital economy. You can write that down. Here we see Bitcoin has 32 halvings, and we've only seen 4 so far. The last one taking us to 2136. So that has got a ways to go yet, now doesn't it? Unless quantum computing gets a hold of it and mines it in about a half hour. We'll see. Breaking news for XRP and crypto enthusiasts in Europe. The Wisdom Tree physical XRP ETP, exchange traded product, is now live. And the symbol we covered last week, XRPW, is now live on Deutsche Börse Extra and 6 Swiss Exchange, say that 5 times fast, and Euronext Paris and Amsterdam. Take advantage of this new investment opportunity directly linked to the XRP's price with a low fee structure. As you can see right here, they have it all set up. This is super exciting to me because, look, when you see these products launched, it means to me that there's going to be more XRP locked up in a qualified custodian to satisfy this particular product that's being offered, because that's how that works, right? So this is super exciting, and we know Canary Capital's got an ETF they're waiting on. We know Bitwise has got an XRP ETF they're waiting on, and others. Grayscale's got an index basket with XRP in it. This is going to explode just like we've seen it explode for Bitcoin, right? And people understand the utility to XRP and the demand, then I think you're going to see that real force and demand happen between people who are buying XRP to back these funds, because they have to. And then you're going to see a demand ultimately when we get legislation and the financial world and all the banks and central banks can begin using XRP, and they're going to know, hey, we need as much of this as we can get. And then the people buying it for the fund are like, well, I have to buy it for the fund. And that causes upward pressure, just those 2 pieces right there. Yeah, we love that. President-elect Donald Trump's pick to run the Commerce Department is Howard Lutnick, who's also from Cantor Fitzgerald, where they are handling the reserves for Tether. And he is aiming to strengthen his alliance with one of the most controversial names in crypto, Tether Holdings. So where this goes, like I said, no one knows. Does Tether live? Does Tether die? We know it's under investigation, and with this comment right here, he's aiming to strengthen his alliance with one of the most controversial names in Tether. Tells me whether he believes that the reserves are there or knows the reserves are there or not, he understands that it's a controversial name and situation. So we need to see a resolution to this. Where's it going to live? And check this out. Shout out to Andy Scheckman. from Miles Franklin. This is a gold guy telling you just how much he believes XRP is going to be a massive part of the financial system. Shout out to Paul Barron for this.
I know that obviously you're a gold guy, but you look at some of the crypto opportunities out there, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, something like a Stellar or an XRP, Chainlink, some of these that are starting to integrate with the banking system. Is there any that you would say, oh, this might be interesting to watch?
I mean, I own a little bit of Bitcoin only because I didn't want to say, why didn't I own it? But I am a hard asset guy, to your point, and it's hard for me to let my mind go to a place where I can't hold it. But I do really, really recognize the potential in XRP. In looking at the way that it's constructed, in looking at the contracts that have already been signed, and looking at that flow chart that you just showed, it's unquestionable that once all this nonsense with the SEC is behind them, in my opinion, it offers amazing potential because it's going to be integrated into the system. It would be the one that I would probably say offers the best potential. There's no question there will be interoperability. The question is, what systems will they integrate? And I'm surprised that Bitcoin is on the list. I don't think it will be something that will be tied to any settlement. I would see, quite frankly, a much higher possibility of something like XRP being involved in transacting, in being used to integrate with the M-Bridge or Project Agora or any of these other settlement options, a form of instant settlement, a much more efficient way of doing so, but all of it under the purview, if you will, of the BIS and of the Western system. So it's an interesting thought experiment. Don't know how it all plays out.
And a great clip there from Andy and Paul Barron. Shout out to both of those gentlemen. And here is a great discussion about what we can expect from the SEC and Congress as we transition in the environment into a pro-crypto blockchain over the next few months. This is crucial. Now, the whole clip is great, but I'm going to bring it in right here. Excuse me for that. And let's listen out.
That the Republicans will replace the one seat that they'd be missing, because it would be, well, it actually depends. If we name a new chairman, we'll have Uyeda and Pierce and the new chairperson. So then we'll have 3 Republicans, and then I think they'll have to decide on a Democratic nominee because they'll need a 5th seat. And then the full commissioners would vote to whether to continue the litigation, settle the litigation, or take some other action. I'm intentionally choosing not keep bringing the action as one of the choices. I may not have said that perfectly eloquently, so Jim and Aaron, if you want to add to that, feel free.
Aaron and Jim, listen closely to these two gentlemen.
Yeah, well, I think you've described that pretty well. There's going to be kind of an interim period where all the pieces, kind of as you say, David, everything needs to be set up, and once everybody's in place, then actions can move forward, decisions can be made, and then that's when the crypto community is really going to start to see a sea change in terms of how the SEC acts with respect to the crypto community. And so the way this will work is that Gensler will continue in his position, and he said that he's not going to resign basically until Inauguration Day. Once Inauguration Day happens, then President Trump will make his nomination. And one thing that I think we've seen with the Trump transition is this isn't 2016 where they kind of were new to the game and some of the nominations came out slowly. They've been thinking about this for a long time. They've been thinking about it for years. They've had an administration in waiting in the form of the American First Policy Institute and some other organizations that have been helpful to them. And so they're ready to go. And so I would expect that President Trump will announce his nomination in the wake of this news, fairly quickly. And we should have some good insights into exactly, who he's going to pick. Many people have been speculating about who that will be. Teresa Guillen often is mentioned, and I think she'd be great. But once the pick is made, there's still a transition. And so Trump can name kind of an acting chair to the SEC. Presumably that'd be one of the 2 Republicans who are on amongst the commissioners now, who are both generally pro-crypto, so that would be fine. And then she would need to go through a confirmation hearing. And that can sometimes take a while to kind of percolate through the Senate. But I think we could expect sometime in probably February, or it could extend into March. We should have a full SEC and ready to go, and that's when we'll see a sea change.
So there, right there, we know to watch out for February or March to find out what's going to happen with the remainder of the Ripple case and other cases in crypto. That's a window to pay attention to. Now let's listen here as Jim Flood chimes in and talks about a possible crypto bill.
Jim, are Aaron and David correct?
I think so. Although, to be frank, I'm a little bit more focused on what's going to happen in Congress next year. I mean, we're going to have a brand new Congress. I mean, there was an enormous amount of effort that went in this year to trying to put together a crypto bill. And obviously, the industry participated heavily, in the election and with favorable results, as we all know. I mean, there are at least 8 seats or more. And when you look at a number of the key Senate races, obviously, there was a very heavy engagement by the industry and worked out very positively. As we sit here on November 21st, with another 3 weeks left of what we call the lame duck session of Congress, it's looking very unlikely that a bill is going to come together. There have been times during the year, about 2 months ago, it looked like it was much more possible. Now it's not going to. And although obviously what the SEC does is critical and it'll be focused on this will be a major issue for the commission, as opposed to Congress, which has, thousands of different issues. I think there's momentum in Congress next year, which is obviously going to debate for a long time. But I think there's a momentum to get involved here and potentially try to cut a deal on a crypto bill next year.
Jim, thanks.
There you have it. I love that. We got the House, we got the Senate, we got the executive branch. Let's get this legislation passed. And by the way, the new U.S. Treasurer replacing Janet Yellen. Goodbye, Janet. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. What a horrible job you've done. Scott Bessent, November 4th here. Look at this. We're going to decide whether we're going to grow our way out of this debt burden. I think we can through deregulation, energy independence, and dominance in the U.S. and a growth mindset. I feel very strongly that this is the last chance to grow ourselves out of this. I also feel strongly that we're in the midst of a great realignment, a Bretton Woods type of realignment in a global policy and global trade. And I'd like to be a part of it, he says. Lastly, I'm convinced this new Republican Party that's been reconstituted is the party of the future, a melding of working class and business class people, and I'm determined that these constituencies get treated well. See, I started out very affluent, and my dad saw it that we lost that. Now that we've made it back, I want to see for working people that things go well. And I love that from him. This is going to be great here. A Bretton Woods type realignment in global policy and global trade. That's who your new treasurer is, not Janet Yellen. Have you looked into crypto and see if it's a national security risk or anything? Well, we haven't looked at anything yet. Bye. Why are we looking at Sean or Ugal? Why are we looking at him? We're looking at him because he's a member of the World Economic Forum, the Digital Euro Association, the UN, and other entities as well. So this guy's connected. That's why we're looking at him. Funny enough, he's sharing this. Breaking massive news regarding President Trump's policies to stimulate U.S. crypto companies such as XRP, XLM, HBAR releasing this week, he says. President Trump is about to make Made in America crypto the main thing everyone is looking for. I told you this is going to be one of his economic pillars. This is what he says here. World Economic Forum member and Digital Euro Association member says that HBAR integration into the Federal Reserve to expand in partnership with XRP to enable the real USD payments. You hearing this? After Hedera was successfully integrated into the FedNow payment system of the U.S. Federal Reserve through DROP, there might soon be an expansion of the integration. Ripple USD, RLUSD, is a stablecoin cryptocurrency that aims to mirror the US dollar and is designed for quick and cheap payments. This further indicates an upcoming interoperability layer between HBAR and XRP, but also the previously reported collaboration on a global standard for central bank digital currencies and stablecoin settlements. Isn't this what we've been waiting for? Well, of course it is. This is where I remind you that Brad and Chris in late October met with the Philadelphia Fed, and then Jack McDonald, the senior VP of the Real USD, met with Governor Bowman in the Digital Chamber with the Federal Reserve. Yes, just in November, just a week or so ago. Come on in. Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. This is where I remind you that Ripple appointed the 43rd treasurer, Rosie Rios, as a board member, and she's still there. And she tells everybody the train has left the station. And it looks like it has left the station, because you know what? I don't know where you guys have been all this time, but it was always XRP. And I know that you all know this, but doesn't it feel good to look back on these things that everyone tried to convince us was an old narrative? It's not an old narrative. In fact, I think as we go forward, we're going to find out just how fresh and new this narrative is, and just how right we've been all along. And I told you, this is all coming down to getting legislation, because if we get legislation, we could see something like this happen. This is David Andofato from the formerly of the St. Louis Fed.
Process some purchases that you might want to undertake. And so it was at that point that I said, well, you know, we could, if we wanted to, extend the concept one step further. I'm not saying that this is ever going to happen, but just conceptually, you could imagine not FedWire for all, but kind of like a Fed coin, where what the Fed would do is actually just issue these, Bitcoin-like objects, but and they would enforce a par exchange rate with the U.S. dollar. That would eliminate the exchange rate volatility. But they could delegate the clearing of these payments to some third party, some sort of Ripple-like protocol or possible.
David Andofato, formerly of the St. Louis Fed, talking about Ripple protocol and the Fed coin. We've covered it heavily here. And then look what's waiting in the wings here. Because we know ISO20022 Payments standard messaging is very, very important to the transition to the new digital economy, because we got to be able to code all of these new digital assets like stable coins and CBDCs, XRP, and other assets if we're going to be able to use them inside the financial system. And we're looking at more than 50 plus are on the SWIFT network. 80 systems targeting to be in and on the ISO 20022 messaging standard. This is remarkable. And we know that 95% of the customer base for Ripple is outside of the U.S. And we know we're about to get legislation in the U.S. that brings the largest economy into this new digital era. And I have said it before, and I'll say it again. The United States is the catalyst that kicks this market open. Write that down. And here is the new treasurer, who says Chief Executive Officer, Chief Investment Officer for Key Square Capital. He was also former Chief Investment Officer for Soros Fund Management, trustee of Rockefeller University, member of the Council on Foreign Relations, taught economic history at Yale University, had a bachelor's degree from Yale University, and advised Trump to pursue a 3-3-3 strategy. And here he is talking about crypto.
Crypto's about freedom. Crypto's about freedom.
That's your new treasurer, ladies and gentlemen. Gary Cardone's been watching old XRP. Shout out to Gary. He said the XRP army are getting louder. Go get it, cowboys. Get rich. Swift in talks to buy XRP, and Cardone evidently fight it out with Visa and MasterCard and the IMF. Well, Gary, they don't have to fight it out with us, because we're indirectly tied to Visa and MasterCard already. And we know the IMF has loved us for years. So bring it on. And what does bringing it on look like? I think it looks like legislation. And when we get clear legislation, I think we might have a chance to see that supernova moment that Ed Grad Crypto is talking about here. $13 to $27, I think I could take it. He says right here, I'm growing more confident that the price target window sits between $13 and $27. It's not a wide range, because 27 is simply double 13. Let's put it in perspective. The percentages increase from $13 to $27 is 107%. Sounds like a lot. But we went from 50 cents to $1.63 just recently, and that was 226%. And it happened just like that. Higher levels means larger dollar moves, but smaller percentage gains. Thin order books. This creates bigger price swings at higher levels. Check this post for better clarity about Think Order Book. As price rises, the percentage increase gets smaller, but the dollar value of each move becomes much bigger. This shows how higher prices can lead to huge returns, even if the percentage growth looks smaller. Now back to Supernova Moment. Measured move of the triangle. The measured breakout from the triangle aligns perfectly with the magic box to $13 to $15 window. So in other words, if you take a look at what he's showing you here, this is the mark where you're looking at, and that magic box stick, that white stick right there, put there to measure would put us right between the 13.27, between the $13 and $15 that he referenced up there. So he says here, Candle 1, we're processing Candle 1, which is breaking the triangle formation the most bullish way possible. This candle has done its job. I don't see it extending further. Candle 2, get ready for madness. XRP might drop to 75 cents. Yes, you heard that right. But from there, the thrust to break $2 will be epic, reaching $3.50 in a clear and open runway. This sets the stage for the final push to double digits. Candle 3, here's where the magic happens. Once we hit vacuum space, navigating the double digits becomes effortless. The Fairmont of this ride is the magic box, landing between $13 and $27. Stay strong and steady. Set your limit orders for your selling strategy now, because even the best TA analysts, including me, can't predict the exact peak. The goal is simple. Make money for yourself and your loved ones. This cycle rides and entering its final stage. Short, fast, and furious. Be safe, my fellow mates, and let's finish strong. That's where we're at on this day. Shout out to you, Ed Greg Crypto. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going in. We must stop the globalists. And you're going to find out why. RFK Jr. is going to lay it down in the Freedom Zone. Go to digperspectives.com, click the Freedom Zone, and come on in. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. All right.